Good morning, Gino.
Good morning, Jack.
Just checking my phone. I was looking at my phone. I hope that this works. We had a little bit of audio difficulties going into the stream. Never a doubt.
Just when you get comfortable, man.
It's always a battle. Every day is a battle. We wake up, one battle after another. That would be a great name for a movie, Gino.
Yes, sir. Leo is in there.
Anything going on in your head right now?
No.
You got nothing.
I'm calm.
Nothing for you. I have a couple things to jump into at the beginning, at the top of the news story situation. First off, before I got on this, I saw that Error and Meme Booth are partnering together, so you can take a selfie of yourself and it'll create a meme and like just absolutely roast you.
Like the starter pack, it breaks down your different outfits.
Just based on your face. And so just insane when you see a B2B SaaS company do stuff like that to get into meme culture. But then it also works because like you'll give them, it's kind of like, you could see people being like, am I really about to give my facial recognition to a tech company? But I think they can have it. Everyone already has it. A couple other things too, Gino, that are kind of like to lead us off that I thought were pretty cool. The first thing is there is this music video. There's one of the great music videos of recent memory for me, and I wanted to talk about it. It's Young Lean. Do you know Young Lean?
I do not know Young Lean.
This is my first experience with Young Lean as well, and Ross is losing his mind. He can't believe it.
Can I get a thumbs up or thumbs down on Young Lean as an artist? You're a fan?
He's one of the better, via research, one of the biggest creatives, most influential creatives of our generation, Gino.
Oh.
Did you have a chance to look at this?
I saw a little bit of it. I didn't get to finish it.
I think it'd be nice if we could play it alongside so people can see. But it's one of the more visually appealing things, and I think the marketing angle for me, if I'm like a brand and I'm thinking about how do I get entertainment on social, this has done more for pushing entertainment and getting me to like watch something for 3 minutes than most other things. And you see like Gap makes music videos.
Yep.
So this felt like a thing that might be interesting for people to have a look at. I don't know if we'll get it up. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it, but if you want to see it, go check it out.
You know, I was actually on my TikTok feed. There's this creator, I don't know the name, but she's basically talking about art and contemporary art. And she was basically saying there's a difference between liking work and appreciating work. And while I might not like what I saw and like what I heard, I can appreciate the craft that goes into it. So I will be taking on this persona now of, can I appreciate what the brands are doing?
I don't understand how you can appreciate something but not like it.
Like the work that goes behind it, and like, did they convey the message? Is it did they convey the message and the craft around it? Like,
like it's just not for you?
Yeah. A lot of the stuff that we talk about, I don't necessarily love. I'm not like, this is gonna like, this is like my favorite of all time. But I think there's a difference between.
I'm trying to get in my box here. I'm in the box right now. But look at this music video. I think if you skip it ahead to like 3.5 minutes, it's just that's kind of like the thing that people are talking about. If you go a little bit further. Yep.
Look at
there you go. Like this is what people are going nuts about.
Oh, nice.
Very much everyone's moving in unison, and it's all one take, and they just keep going back and forth and back and forth.
What was the Kendrick Lamar video with the heads that were bopping around like this too? Where's this guy from? UK?
Is this UK?
Sweden.
Wow. It's home of Spotify.
Yeah, Rob Mayhew, who joined yesterday, talking about Sweden, loved it there.
So this was, I don't know, I mean, I think about the way that brands have to show up. This is what you're competing with. Mm-hmm. You're competing with like a music video that is as engaging and cool and visually appealing and viral as this. And it's just got mass appeal. People love it. And you think about marketing, I never heard of Young Lean until this.
I like his tie. I like his fashion. I think we should bring ties back, Jack.
Great to get that expert insight from Gino, as always.
Absolutely.
Branding expert.
More ties. Okay. Young Lean. Gonna check this out. I mean, this is interesting.
When you see something like this, does it move the needle for you? Just the movements alone.
Yes.
Do you think it has the spark? And do you think that this will be something that we're talking about still 48 hours from now?
I think I can appreciate the craft here. Like what I'm looking at now, like the visuals of this, like the choreography, the thought behind it. Like I can appreciate this. Absolutely. Will we talk about it in 48 hours? Maybe, probably not.
Okay. Iconoclast is behind it, Gino. You know Iconoclast?
No.
They do a lot of commercials, a lot of production. they do a lot of cool things like this.
Nice.
Iconoclast, I think of Iconoclast and I think of Smuggler as two kind of like big time production companies putting things together. Young Lean, I always wonder in these scenarios, how much is he behind the creative versus like how much is Iconoclast, how much is the director in on it? At the end of the day, like it's all in service of this piece of art, right?
Yeah.
So attribution is always interesting, but at the end of the day, this is the future of branded entertainment.
Yeah, he is a brand himself, Young Lean, and this is like a vehicle to deliver that brand. So that's one way to think about it too. Like he's got to break through, he's got to sell, he's got to get on the streamings, and it seems like this is going to accomplish that.
No trends here, no trending audios, no get ready with me's, no micro
What are
drama
your
here.
favorite music videos?
I thought of OK Go when I saw this. I thought of this as this is the newest, as the contemporary version of OK Go on the treadmills. To be honest with you.
These are that is a classic with the treadmills.
Oh, look at this ad. Now, hey, hold on. Let's review this ad real quick, Gino. Keep the ad rolling. Keep the ad rolling. Build a modern website for a SaaS product. Start taking better care of your employees. Claire is God. Looks like we got a little vibe coding here. You got a guy building a website. Launch your website in minutes, Gino. Base44.com. Thoughts on this ad? Live reaction, Gino. What do you got?
I don't know who this dude is, but
look at it. He's holding the mic. He doesn't even have it. You make the design darker.
Product demo here.
Product demo for a website.
This is
percentage. How many people are watching this entire ad?
No, 4%.
I think that's a massive number. I think it's like 0.08%. That is a ad review on YouTube, live reaction.
Base 44.
They're moving a lot of movement there, but not a lot of
now this is the movement I would rather see here.
And
on
so
the treadmills. What year was this?
All time. This is
17 years ago?
17 years ago, 70 million views. And
no AI in this.
AI could never. No AI in the Young Lean video either.
I love that.
But yeah, what is Ross looking out? Oh my God. Here we go.
This is like
Ross is just
this is
base 44 again.
They know
the attribution. They're targeted. They see that you watched it for more than 5 seconds. They're gonna keep it rolling.
There was nothing like hanging out with your friends and just going through YouTube videos.
This might just be our new live show. It's just going through YouTube music videos and talking over them. Next thing we're gonna do is like Derrick Rose highlights.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but so I guess Ross is showing us Young Lean music videos now.
His brand.
I would like to move on to the next.
What else
topic.
you got, Jack?
I saw something on TikTok that piqued my interest, a little social trend thing that I can imagine brands are about to jump in on tomorrow, if I had to guess. If you watched it, I'm not sure, but essentially people are taking their group chats, feeding it into AI, and AI is creating songs with the lyrics that are from the group chat.
Can we play this one?
Is it able to listen to it? I think if people can listen to it, we don't know. I think it's not. The music isn't going.
Tell about him. We met up in Notting Hill. He took me to
This shit's
the cutest
fire.
club.
It's so good.
Bought a bottle of wine and we just talked for a couple of hours.
I think I was laughing out loud in my bed last night.
I love this.
And I saw like 20 of these, and they're all so funny.
Yeah, did you see the one where it's like the girl talking to her younger frat brother? Like her brother's in a frat in college, and like all the texts that he sent.
So good.
Yeah.
And so this is just easy money. I think amazing use of AI.
Oh yeah.
Amazing use of AI, and you just like group chat culture. You just know a brand.
Yeah, how would maybe this is because this is a social episode today, Jack. It's like, I think a theme is like, how can brands like kind of get in on these trends without kind of seeming lame and stuff?
I mean, for this one, the first thing that jumped in my head was fast food chain sending in your text for like someone who's picking up an order.
Yes.
I know nowadays like you use DoorDash, so maybe DoorDash gets in on this, but sending in your order and like people, I remember growing up, you'd send like our mom would go pick up McDonald's or something, and you'd be like, I want 2 cheeseburgers and a large fry. Wait, hold on, can I get a large Coke? Wait, actually, and then they're like, and then your mom's like, oh, they're out of ice cream. Okay, can you get me an Oreo milkshake? It's anything where you can get a lot of back and forth.
Yeah. Is there a lot of back and forth with like DoorDash drivers nowadays? Like, or like are you communicating?
In the messages?
Yeah, in the
for sure.
Oh,
People,
okay.
there's a lot of.
It's like I'm close.
Yes.
Like it's like I'm at the wrong place now.
Yes.
I'm coming outside. No, I'm already here.
Hold on, I'll be down in a minute.
Yes.
So
Stuff like
good.
that.
I think that's great, like a modern love story. You and your DoorDash driver.
Absolutely.
Great call.
I think I see it coming. The comments go nuts, right, Ross? I mean, people are loving it or do they hate it? Okay.
Because
why? You were doing a look.
Oh, Jack, I actually thought of something that might actually be interesting here. That actually might be a takeaway. Because AI is not doing the copy. It's still a human element of these group chat conversations.
Yep.
But it's just using the AI to elevate the storytelling mechanism, making the song around what humans actually said.
Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. This is the thing and it also like the music that they're using they're not like stealing music. They're using it, they're like creating its own music, which I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not like you're not like stealing a song and using it for your own thing. So
sure.
I'm a fan. The last one I want to get into.
I like that.
Last one before the 2-minute drill. Wyatt and Kennedy they did the Harlem Shake.
What?
They just did the Harlem Shake.
What is the rationale behind this? I love it, but I forgot about the Harlem Shake.
You forgot? Yeah, you did.
People
13
forget.
years. It's not even like a 5-year anniversary or a 10-year anniversary or anything for any specific reason. They just decided that we are going to do the Harlem Shake. So I think this is the old one.
That's
This
the
is
old
the
one?
old one.
Better
and then
days.
The next slide is, I think, a little bit of a, or maybe that was the new one, and now they're showing the old one here. I actually don't know for sure.
A little side by side.
Yeah, so
Damn.
that people forget, Gino.
Look,
Does that bring up some memories, a little nostalgia?
it does. But really, I want to frickin' be in there. I want to get in there in the Portland office. I'm assuming that's where it's at.
That's Harlem Shake. That was the only other thing I wanted to talk about before we get into the 2-minute drill, Gino. It's the 2-minute drill. It's the world famous 2-minute drill. People they climb, they claw. People are outside our office right now begging. They're slamming on the doors saying, "Let us in. We want to watch the 2-minute drill."
This is it. This
It's
is
the biggest
moment.
stories in marketing and advertising. 2 minutes each topic. Let's kick it off starting now. What do you got, Gino?
Okay, so news broke today on Ad Age that High Noon is looking for a new creative agency. They're doing a review here. The incumbent is Preacher. That is an Austin-based ad agency here, and they've been working with them. But Jack, I think this is interesting. I got a pitch that is public knowledge that OK Cool is an ad agency that's helping out with the social for High Noon. They just launched, the brand High Noon just launched a new transfusion vodka seltzer there. So it seems like OK Cool is in the door. I'm not really sure about that ad agency if they're going to try and get to that creative AOR there. But
Well, I mean, it begs the question, at that point, do you need an ad agency? Do you need a creative agency if you're just going all in on social?
no, I mean, we have been seeing the rise of the social AORs, but maybe High Noon will go project based.
Well, project based. So what would that even mean? If High Noon, they have a really good presence that they built on social media. They have some key partnerships. I feel like I always see it with like Dave Portnoy with High Noon, and you see that collaboration. So I don't see like High Noon commercials.
No, I haven't seen them either here. So they can go project based with just different agencies when different launches happen. Like if you want to pull this up, Ross, like the transfusion for the limited time offer, they can find an agency like OK Cool who specializes it, and they don't need to have an agency on retainer. They can just pick whoever specializes in that specific ask.
Correct. But they are reviewing their creative. It's under review.
Yes.
That's the official. Okay, so Preacher was the incumbent. And it's under review. So it's not necessarily like they're not going to go with Preacher. They might.
They
but
can
it's
still
under
go with
review.
Preacher.
It's up for grabs right now. And obviously, there's a lot of things that an ad agency does besides like just campaign, just like a drop or whatever. There's a lot of always on kind of marketing. So interesting, cool brand. High Noon, competitive space. Even more, way more competitive than it was. High Noon was so good.
What are
though.
the key competitors for High Noon?
Surfside, Sunsip, White Claw, Happy Dad, Dirty Water.
What's cool now? Like what is the
don't know.
Sunsips are cool now. Surfsides are cool.
Sunsips and Surfside. Sunsip and a Surfside. High Noon, Sunset, Surfside.
I never get to pick which High Noon flavor I want.
Oh,
when I'm
you're
at
a
the bar.
nerd. If you're such a dweeb, if you were go to the bar and you have to ask for a specific
I
flavor.
don't ask, but I would like the choice.
Yeah, that's like you go. Sometimes they ask you what you want.
Not me. Maybe they look at me and they're like, "This guy's gonna."
We're just
whatever.
this guy's. I think they might think that you're you can deal with whatever flavor.
Yeah, I like that.
And next up, WPP expands their relationship with Henkel.
That's right, Jack.
Henkel is one of these companies that you don't know exist, but then you realize they own a bunch of brands, so it's a massive account.
Schwarzkopf.
That's your nickname.
Schwarzkopf, which is a beauty brand?
Yeah, they do. I don't know. This is Schwarzkopf. Ross has it pulled up. I don't know. It's a brand that's a big deal. They have
And
a
then
couple
Persil.
of
Persil is a great
one.
laundry detergent. So I think it's like the best performing laundry detergent. Like when people like try and test it, it's like it gets the stains out. Like it's
WPP,
very nice.
WPP keeps the engine rolling. We talked about it in Q1. They led the league in new account wins among all the holding companies, and they keep it rolling here. Interesting one because of the fact that they won Henkel for media earlier,
November.
and now they get creative, taking it over from Omnicom.
That's the kicker. Love to see a little Titan battle here between the two holdcos.
You love it. You just love it. This is what you wake up, you get out of bed, you talk about it. It's like they both rolled out of bed and they said, let's go to war, let's pitch off. So WPP gets a big one. It's all about integrated media, Gino.
That's right. They for this pitch here, they put together a bespoke team, which is my favorite word of all time, with Gray and Ogilvy, two powerhouses coming together to take the account.
People forget
from Omnicom.
Ogle Gray. There is a little bit,
Oh,
a little bit of fodder around it. Are they merging the two companies?
Well-
It's not a merger.
No.
They just, what is it now? Gray sits under Ogilvy in the P&L. Is that how it?
Well, no, they have a new thing now. It's it's WPP Creative, and they keep the agency brands. I'm not sure the structure now.
Right.
But there is the
the
rumor,
agency
like,
brand
it
names.
could
The agency
be-
brand names are still
Keep
alive.
them. Don't
That's a
take away
bespoke
our
team.
brand names.
Do
Don't
not
do
take away, especially Ogilvy and Gray. Those are
Yeah,
two
no, you
iconic
can't.
names.
You can't.
Please don't. Next up,
Gone
Gino.
through too much already.
Coors Light World Cup. Say it with me.
Coors Light World Cup.
Everyone's getting in on the World Cup. Every single day we talk about a new brand, especially in the beer department, coming out with something for the World Cup. This one, it's unique. It's
Yes.
unique to me. The whole thing is, the thing that I'm getting from this is Coors. Like goal, but Coors. Any thoughts here?
It's an association play. When was the last time we saw a brand around a sports moment do an association play, Jack? Do you remember? Come on.
I just started cracking up because you just the way you set that up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, I'll tell you. Pizza Hut. Tom Brady, it's just like that. It's like every time I hear Hut, I thought of
Pizza Hut.
So now
Pizza
every time
Hut.
I hear goal, I'm going to think of Coors. And every
Totally.
time that somebody scores in the World
my
Cup
God,
this year,
that's
they add an extra O to the logo.
So another thing, Sophia Colucci is changing her title on LinkedIn to CMO. So I imagine probably not yet because every time they score a goal they'll add an O.
Yep. Do
But-
you know how many goals were
we go.
scored in 2022?
How many?
172
I want to see
goals.
It all. I want to see it all. I want to see it all. I want to see every single. I want every O. I want 172 O's on
Yep.
Sophia Colucci's title on LinkedIn. Gino.
And shout out to Matt Carpenter. So he's a new VP of marketing over there at Coors. Comes over from Kraft Heinz. He was in the easy meals business. So this is a new role for him. This is his first swing at the Coors Light brand. So congrats to him.
Exciting stuff. I mean, I want to see the O's. Next up, iShowSpeed. iShowSpeed and Expedia. It feels like a long time coming for a travel partner to get in with iShowSpeed. We all know iShowSpeed, one of the biggest live streamers in the world. His whole thing recently has been about traveling the globe.
Yep.
And live streaming where he's at in these world tours. Expedia says it makes sense. Let's get in here together. But they take it a step further. They take it a step further in the sense they built this microsite with ad agency Mother to pretty much you can go on there. This looks like a very vibe coded kind of microsite where you can see all the different places iShowSpeed has been. You click on it. It shows you the clips of the streams when he was there. And then on the other side of the site, you can book a trip in Expedia to go to that place.
It's smart. I mean, it's a great integration. Clearly targeting Gen Z here, who I would imagine wants to travel more, or they're going to travel more. If they do travel more, it's going to be with Expedia. And today he's on a 12-hour trek Did you read about this?
Nope.
230 miles today in the Caribbean. I think he's going to visit a couple of those different places over there. So he's live streaming, and there's a direct partnership with Expedia. So you should be watching our live show, but when you're done with this, go check out iShowSpeed.
The other thing, Expedia launching a new TikTok channel for all the clips from the streams that appeal to maybe like Expedia's target audience or what they want to do. So they got a little clipping strategy going. I was cracking up at the article of them explaining what clipping means.
Oh.
It was like,
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pull it up. Yes, I am. Here we go. I need to get you the exact thing. The company is equally focused on identifying key moments in his streams and turning those into brief videos, a practice known as clipping.
Genius.
So we're all learning about what clipping means in real time. I'm glad we could get that out of the way. But it's a good social strategy.
It is a good social strategy.
Starting a new account, not using the brand account,
New accounts.
growing the ecosystem, growing the surface area for Expedia to exist online. It's a strategy that we're seeing more of. The brand account, the follower accounts don't matter. You can get reach regardless of follower account. And Expedia realized that. Gino, what's next?
Omnicom Q1 earnings season here.
No better way to wrap up the 2
I
minutes.
love this stuff. I think so Publicis was up in revenue in Q1. WPP was down. And now Omnicom just released that they're up. So up 6.7% year over year. Things are looking good there. But there's some takeaways here, Jack. Did you want to do any of the takeaways?
Well, I got a few. It's never been clear. Every earnings report, we get clearer and clearer signal that holding companies, it's about media. It's about data. They got Axiom. It's pretty much Axiom versus Epsilon at this point. With Publicis, it's all about the data because they explain it here in the earnings call. But the fact of the matter is that if you're going to go all in on AI, the one input that matters most is the data and how clean that data is and how true that data is and how accurate it is.
First party.
First party. So cookies are dead, and this first party data is what matters. So they're leveraging all of that. And what you're seeing is it feels like media, they're going all in on AI data, and then creative is essentially a capability within the holding company.
And then also, obviously, Omnicom and IPG merged last year. So this is the first report and it looks pretty good. But it seems like there's still some restructuring that's needed within Omnicom, the new Omnicom here. There might be some other agencies maybe that have to be shifted around.
Well, alongside that today, Omnicom sunset 2 more agencies under a new Lola USA brand.
Yes.
We know Lola, they're coming stateside now, absorbing 180 and Adam and Eve DDB New York, Gino.
That's right.
So it's a
movement.
It's a movement. You're seeing the structure, seeing the shifting, and it's a long time coming, but it's at the holding company level. It's figuring out the best way to serve clients and structuring the entire company alongside that.
It wasn't going to happen overnight. Like when we saw the first wave, we knew we weren't fully done yet. So we'll probably see a trickle more.
100%. It's going to be a tectonic shift like this doesn't happen. It happens over the course of a few years.
There's some earthquakes when those plates shift, Jack. That's a
Oh,
result.
what's the name for that? What's the name for that when there's like the aftershock? Right?
Aftershock.
After G-shock is
That's
what I call it.
That's a cool name.
It is a cool name. And so
But you can expect some aftershocks,
I think you can expect some aftershocks.
but they're never as large, hopefully, as the initial earthquake.
Well, tell me thoughts on, yesterday we talked about WPP's earnings, and now today talking about Omnicom. Different but the same is how I would describe it.
What do you mean?
Different but the same in the sense that like there is such an emphasis on how they're using AI and data to inform decisions. You saw it in Omnicom today. They were talking about how they've already begun AI agents buying from AI, making media buys with other AI agents on the other side. The big thing also, we talk about all the things going on at the trade desk. A WPP yesterday in their earnings call, a little bit more not necessarily talking about it, kind of avoiding the question of the trade desk and where they sit and how media buying works. Omnicom today, John Wren was like pretty much saying, though they're trying to find more direct routes to the publishers, and in reducing the need for third parties or middlemen to help facilitate the transaction.
Why do you
of
think
media buying.
WPP kind of skirted around that?
I think they're still trying to figure out their strategy. I think there's still like it's useful to have an intermediary partner if you don't have the capabilities in-house
Right.
in investment. So I think that's what it comes down to, is just like figuring out where they're at in the scheme of things and where you want to make the next move. So that's all I got there, Gino. But
appreciate that,
let's
Jay.
jump in. Let's jump into the show. 'Cause our first guest is interesting. But Ali, what would you like to say? Gino needs to join the breakout room. This is
I just joined the breakout room.
breaking news. Breaking news. Gino needs to join the breakout room. It was amazing watching Ellie try to communicate that.
Yeah, you can just say what's up.
You can
Appreciate
try to
that.
speak into that.
Appreciate that.
But
Thank you for the
excited
call
about
out.
this one because Bridget Jewell is joining the show, head of social for McCann's Mastercard crew. Gino,
That's right.
It's a massive global
XBC.
brand. XBC, it's a global brand, and so it's going to be. I'm very interested to hear about how they approach social for such a massive organization and one that's been around for a long time. We hear a lot of like social media tactics, and it's like, how are you using it for like this random small thing that's happening and like very much limited in like its scale. But how does a massive brand that has so much heritage use social and help it to grow the business? And so those are the questions I will be asking. We'll preview.
Oh, let's freaking go. Bridget Jewell, welcome to the show.
How's it going, Bridget?
Hi, great. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you. Thank you for taking the time. Your background is especially colorful. I just wanted to point that out. So congrats to that.
It's a really great room at McCann's offices.
Oh, it's beautiful. I love that. We need that. We've been working on our background ourselves. We went with the wood paneling.
Yes.
But I think
I dig it.
some
Mad
color
Men
might be in the
vibes.
future.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
Yeah, big time.
So let's talk about you. Can you give us a rundown for the folks at home that are not familiar with McCann XBC? What does XBC exist to do?
Yeah. McCann XBC actually was created as an agency team dedicated solely to working on Mastercard. Mastercard has been with McCann since 1997, which is when the price list was created. And they're a really wonderful client partnership. The agency dedication allows us to really dive in and become an extension of their brand.
I think that's.
So you
it makes
can't
a
work
lot
on
of sense.
any other brands.
It's not that we can't work on other brands. Of course, we like to, get a little variety. What creative doesn't want to have a little variety in their life? But we focus on Mastercard, and because it's such a large, massive global brand, there's tons and tons of work to do all the time.
Yeah, I guess that to me is the most fascinating part of this is the scale, the sheer size of a brand like that. How does Mastercard and you all, the team, think about social? Because the first natural thing that people would bring up is like, when you're that big, can you move as fast as you need to on social? So I guess what are your thoughts and opinions and the team's strategy around that?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think, I come from a background of having done all different types of social. Previous to joining McCann, I was at Dentsu Creative, leading the social creative lab, and we did everything from always on to campaign-based stuff. The way that McCann works with Mastercard is very much focused on more tentpole moments in bringing the brand to life in social spaces to reach audiences in ways that resonate with them. We're always looking at social to drive insights, understand what's happening in the world, and bringing that to life through a lot of different ways. I'll give you a couple of examples. Mastercard is excited by their sponsorships. They are, in fact, one of the naming sponsors of the McLaren F1 racing team. It's the McLaren Mastercard F1 racing team. Actually, we have a team down there this weekend for the Miami Grand Prix, and they're activating on a campaign called Team Priceless. It's this idea of putting fans in pole position, which is a priceless experience, right? And so rather than lining up a ton of influencers to have these really cool experiences, we've selected fans that are just normal people that are going to have this amazing experience all weekend where they get to be behind the scenes and interacting with the drivers and being a real part of the team, which in and of itself, as you can imagine, is priceless to a fan like that.
I want to say that that just gets me very excited because I just think about just the way that social is now. I can totally envision one of these people. Everyone posts on TikTok anyways. these people will probably post on their personal TikToks, and it will probably go viral of them being like, I am at this F1 race, I am at the pole position, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, I think we just got more organic views by just bringing in normal people and just being like, they might post and it'll probably go viral, as opposed to being like, let's just bring in influencers, where it just by nature feels a little bit different.
Yeah.
Which I don't even know if like that was the intent, Bridget, but it feels like the way that social and the algorithm is going, and anyone can go viral at any given moment. It's all about really just like what the video is.
Yeah.
That's really fascinating.
Yeah, I think that, thinking about unique ways to drive audience interest and resonance, like one of the biggest things that I think can be a miss for brands in social is authenticity. I know it's like a troped word. We use it all the time. Everybody, like leans on that. But I really think that authenticity to brands are specific to every brand and specific to every moment that that brand is in. But it is the thing that matters the most. And
Mhm.
if we're being honest, authenticity is the last bastion of cool. You
Mhm.
can't buy it and you can't fake it, right? And so, what better way to allow people to understand and experience F1 than through a super fan's eyes? That is authenticity.
So how does Mastercard toe that line? Because it can be very easy, as we all know, to post, especially from a brand account, especially from a massive brand account, to lose authenticity or have something come across in a way that's not authentic. So I guess like how does Mastercard think about that, and how is it rooted in the strategy? Because obviously you get to an execution like this that feels very authentic and is very true, but what are the steps that get you there, and like what are some of the pitfalls that you're avoiding along the way?
Yeah, a lot of the time is spent understanding the audience. It's not
Mhm.
dissimilar to any other creative campaign or marketing and effort or initiative in when we think about best practice. It is the depth of understanding of your audience that you are trying to reach and making sure that you are reflecting back to them in the way that they want to be received, right? And so really it's about understanding what these audiences are looking for. Another example for Mastercard, we just launched around the Grammys. There's a Grammy sponsorship that Mastercard has every year. This is the third year of them partnering with an artist to do something interesting with their sponsorship. And this year, the artist that we partnered and sponsored was Noah Khan. Shout out to Noah Khan if you haven't listened to his new album, The Great Divide. It's great. I highly recommend it. We actually created his music video for that first single off of his new album and debuted it during a commercial break at the Grammys. 3 minutes and 45 seconds of his fans losing their minds because they were waiting for more content from him. They had been waiting for 2 years for him to deliver this album. The Sunday of the Grammys happened to fall right after the Friday he released his new single. Then we debut the music video, and the music video is tagged with a tour announcement. So it really was about building goodwill with fans, with Gen Z who are obsessed with this artist and with this artist's fans in delivering to them more of what they're looking for, which is entertainment and being put first in what they're looking to achieve, brought to you thanks to MasterCard.
It's really smart. It seems like we're talking a lot about sponsorship, tentpole moments, how the brand can integrate at these milestone moments here. Is that kind of like the social strategy for MasterCard? And like, what can we learn from this for other brands that might be listening?
Yeah, it's one of the big, kind of massive tent poles within the MasterCard consumer facing entities,
Mhm.
right? MasterCard is a massive business that does a ton of B2B. They do a lot of different types of work. But when it comes to interacting with consumers, really using their sponsorships in unique ways to, as our clients say, not interrupt, but add to the experience, right? So don't disrupt and make it about you or make it self serving, rather add to the experience that fans are already looking to have. They're not looking for, I'm sure you've seen actually what led to the strategy of the team price list. You've probably seen the meme that's going around the internet about F1. It's like, oh, another sponsor, right? They have logos all over the
Yeah,
car,
yeah.
right?
I
And
love
and
that.
what is in that for fans, right? Like it does nothing for the fan experience. So why not be a sponsor that takes the next step that actually elevates the fan experience thanks to the sponsorship? And using it in that way is something that's really unique and hopefully other brands take note of.
So of other brands, you are an expert in this field here. I'm curious, like, what are some other brands that you see are setting like the standard right now for social that you are envious of, or you take inspiration of, or you just like personally?
You know what? It's really interesting. As I have expanded, so my role at XBC is leading all creative for North America and then leading social globally. So I'm doing a mixture of things and really sit at the intersection of creative and social. I think the most interesting stuff that I have seen as of late actually is not coming from brands. And I feel like we're in this era of a bit of a lull. Social for brands. I've been around for a long time in this industry, and the social for brands tends to be cyclical. We tend to see a lot of copycats.
Mhm.
Somebody does something interesting out of the norm, and then there's a ton of copycats that try to follow that, and that goes back to the point of authenticity, right? It may be short term gains, but not long term, right? So what I'm seeing now is we're kind of in an era where no one has found the new next thing that's so big that everybody's talking about and paying attention to. Rather, we're talking a lot about personalities, creators. We're watching artists. I mean, you you all talked earlier today about the music video that's everywhere, that everybody's dying over the choreography, right? From the team in France. And I just think that we're in an era where we need more fresh, real, true creativity in social instead of chasing trends, replicating AI slop.
Mhm.
There aren't really any brands that are standing out to me at the moment.
Yeah, it's hard to be like an entertaining brand. And we're talking more about that as like the difference between branded entertainment and just being an entertaining brand. And I think
Yeah.
it requires a level of self-awareness, I think, to think that like you as a brand are not the most important thing in the world. Like it's not your job
Yes.
necessarily to be the most entertaining thing, to be the hit show, to be the hit movie. So it's like finding that balance. And I think when you're just doing things that are different versus like, episodic type of things, like I just think the experience and the way that you went about working with F1 to say, we're going to take it one step further. We're going to go for F1's audience versus just like having it stop at the brand logo partnership is a really interesting thing, but it's also something that really can't be copied in the same way.
Yeah.
So it's like
But that's really where authenticity comes in, right? Like what I want to see and what I love seeing is when a brand is staying true to themselves and doing interesting things, and that's what's really going to resonate with the audience, right? Like what is it about your brand that is unique, differentiated? Lean into that and
Mm.
lean into the way that your audience is talking about it. And maybe even it could be one person. I think one of the things that sometimes happens is brands think, oh, I shouldn't talk about that part about my brand. There's like one person that talked about that. No, go all in on that. Somebody cares about it. Somebody said something about it. That's going to be interesting to other people. And it might turn into something that you could have never imagined. Right. So I think it really is about, again, staying true to your brand, finding your way in, and not trying to copy the way that everybody is doing things that they're finding success in.
I mean, do you think my last question is just around the sophistication of social? And you've worked on social for a while and have great experience there. It's like I feel like it's gotten more and more sophisticated to what you were saying. You sit between creative and social, and it's like all of that data and insight and like the level of sophistication for social strategy just feels like it's taken on a whole new world in the last few years. Is that something that you're noticing at this point?
Yeah, I think social platforms continue to get fragmented, right?
Hmm.
And audiences shift and move in them, and behavior changes, right, over periods of time. I think there's always been this tug and pull for brands and people who work in social of lo-fi versus highly produced. highly produced, used to be super naughty. Don't do it. It's people don't want that in their channels. Now we're seeing brands doing episodic series with like actual full crews, right? On TikTok. And people are loving that. I think that the reality is that you should never think of social as just one thing. You should be continuing to evolve and iterate and explore and test and learn and see how people like things. Because people's behavior is changing. The consumption habits change all the time. Even if they went to TikTok originally when I mean, think about it. TikTok was originally a dancing platform. That's not what it is today, right? You have to be able to be nimble and continue to evolve in the way that you show up in these spaces and the way that you're reaching your audiences to resonate.
Right. Yeah, at the end of the day, they're platforms. So that inherently means that what happens on the platform is going to continue to change. And it's just a platform. It's just a place to show up. What you do with that is up to you. I think that's it. People forget what the word platform means, Gino. Well, Bridget, appreciate your time. Means a lot to us and your insight. Congrats on all the great work. Excited to see everything that comes from Mastercard here in the next few months. And yeah, we'll see a micro drama series coming soon, I'm sure.
We'll see. You have to stay tuned.
Thanks, Bridget. Appreciate you.
Thanks. Bye.
Boom. That theme will continue. If you thought that was interesting,
Oh yeah.
get excited
Showtime.
because the rest of the show follows a similar pattern. But that was Bridget Jewell, head of the Mastercard social for McCann, bespoke.
We got into their strategy a little bit there.
We
I
did
like
get a little
that.
bit of an insider look, Gino, which
That's
is pretty
nice.
fun to me. I'm excited. The next guest, I'm also excited for. How about that?
Dan Sulky. And Dan Sulky is the founder and strategy partner at Small World, and they put out a report called Entertain or Die. That's 3.0. And they rank 100 brands. 16,200 people in the U.S. were surveyed for this, and they talk about top brands here, top performers, and really it's about entertaining brands and what that entails. Like, do we have to be entertaining as a brand, Jack?
We kind of teased that a little bit. Branded entertainment versus being an entertaining brand. This is that line alone we could talk about for hours, but we're going to talk about it for probably like 10 to 15 minutes right now. Let's bring in Dan Sulky,
With the nice hat on.
co-founder. Look at this hat. Oh my God. Dan, how are you?
I'm very good. Yeah, probably the elephant in the room to address is the hat, first and foremost. Why the hat? Well, this is a show that's all about big news. We're here to talk about big things. You guys always like to break big things in the industry. Entertainment is one of those things. And we actually met for the first time in person in Texas and South by where we launched this. So, in honor of the US state that does things big, I thought, I'd wear this getup. And you're never too old to cosplay as a cowboy, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you can't turn down an opportunity. I don't want people to lose sight of the bolo tie as well that you're rocking. Look at that.
Yeah, special edition I picked up in Austin, actually. It's very near and dear to me because, yeah, again, this report, we've been doing it for 3 years now, and we've always launched it at South by in Austin. So it's, it's got a bit of heritage and history to it.
I mean, you talk about being entertaining. You talk about entertain or die. This is you're living proof of it, Dan. And I want to talk about it. I think this is, the fact that you've been doing it for 3 years feels like it was very ahead of its time. And maybe I'm just naive and dumb, but to see how this topic has evolved over the years, what has been the trending thing that over the last 3 years that has remained constant when it comes to brands and how they entertain?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question to open with. And look, we're not reinventing the wheel. It seems, simple. Keep it simple, stupid is really what we always say in advertising, right? Like, it's always been about entertaining people. I think the reason why it's more important now is good to focus on. Being entertaining in your advertising and your content on social is ever more important because social platforms, and I know you had a bunch of people on talking about social today, social platforms aren't social anymore. They are entertainment platforms. Ever since TikTok came on the scene with their fancy algorithm and made everybody across the whole market kind of switch up how they do social and how they serve content to people, the name of the game has become entertainment. And that is why the brands that have an entertainment value are starting to win today and beat out the ones that are still playing maybe like a community first game or just playing a different playbook on social. We fundamentally believe that.
Love it. So Dan, the report's out now. They can go download and check it out. But I want to ask you, from your findings, from the survey, from the analysis, what are some of those truly entertaining brands?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a bunch in there. Some of them obviously are clients. I got to shout out like Buzzballs, Dr. Squatch, Duolingo as well, past client of ours, Vacation. Tons of brands like to shout out who are our clients. But there's tons of kind of like new entrants in there as well. M&M's, big legacy brands too that you wouldn't have thought of. You know, Dove. Again, consistently kind of entertaining their audience and having kind of a legacy of being entertaining as well. I mean, there's a whole methodology you can kind of look into and go into when you download the report. But I think the important thing to note is it's not about the size of the brand. There's actually a bunch of brands that have no correlation towards their prompted or unprompted awareness and how entertaining they are, which I think is heartening really for small and big brands to look at and be like, you know, I can start from day one tomorrow and be entertaining if I wanted to.
Yeah, that stuff to me is so interesting. The ability, just with the algorithm now as a brand, you can get such outsized impact without having to rely on like a massive follower count. And so I guess the question I have next is around what you're seeing, because I think there's something in there about what the impact is of being entertaining and how it's like proving itself to be worth it from the business side. Can you explain that part? Because I think everyone that's listening to this will be in agreement that like you want to be entertaining on social because a lot of the audience is creatives, it's brand marketing people, but help them sell it in to the nerd CFO that wants to see justification.
Yeah, 100%. And that, look, that is fundamentally why we do the research every single year. We want to arm people with statistics to go into the boardroom against their, you know, nerd CFO in a boss battle and be able to come out on top effectively. I mean, you talked about it a little bit beforehand, but the main distinction we're trying to make to people is like brand and entertainment versus entertaining brand. Like this is all about the DNA of what makes an entertaining brand and then what that kind of provides you in ROI off the back of it. I mean, some of the top headlines that we kind of give from the report, the number one is always we kind of talk about the business impact, right? So like what kind of revenue are these brands driving? And 83% of the top 30 brands are growing in revenue. They have single digit revenue growth. 47% of them, so half of them, have double digit revenue growth. So just from the data that we can see publicly available from the outside looking in, the more entertaining a brand is, the more likely their revenue and their bottom line is growing each year. But the real killer stat that we had this year that was separate to last year, because that's a trend that we've been seeing continue. The killer stat this year, the tracksuit kind of helped us pull was around preference. So 17 of the top 30 brands had double the preference of the bottom 30 brands. So the way the index works is the brands that are at the bottom can still be entertaining, but they're less entertaining. And then the brands that are at the top 30 are more entertaining. And those top 30 brands, 17 top 30 of them, had double the preference of the bottom 30. What does that mean? It means they are people's favorite brands. So if you are an entertaining brand, you are much more likely to be someone's favorite brand. And that's what a lot of businesses are always chasing, right? Loyalty, effectively. Like they want to build loyalty. Yes, reach is all about reaching new customers again and again and again, because traditional brand building says that you can't buy loyalty effectively. You can't get to loyalty. But I guess what this data is showing us is that you can get more loyalty than you previously could if you are an entertaining brand. So that was like a really interesting stat that kind of came out this time around. And then I think the last one that's pretty interesting is just that counterintuitive thinking around like awareness. Awareness has no correlation with entertainment. There are some brands that have very small awareness but very high entertainment scores. Like you can be a massive brand, you can be a small brand, you can still have entertainment value. Obviously helps when you have big budgets, but it's not essential.
Right.
I was going to ask about, so this is about entertainment at the core of the brand's DNA, it seems like, not just a one-off branded entertainment buy of some sort where they create a small social series or they do something like that. This is like in its core embedded. And for that, then what might the brands do if they're not, they were not born out of entertainment, or they're more of a financial institution, or they might be a little more cut and dry just by the nature of the business? Like, can they change? Should they change? What would you say at a high level for those brands?
Yeah, it's a really, really good question, Gino. Like it's one that we get
Hell yeah.
whenever top question. It's almost like you do this for a job. It's a really good question, and it's whenever we're on panels at South by, wherever we are, we always are getting asked that question effectively. Somebody stands up and says like, how do I get this thinking into my business? The thing that I always say is look for, as a marketer, look for the part of the business that has the least eyeballs on, or that frankly people don't care about in the business. So it could be like a product or service or a line extension within, like we worked with brands where they're like a house of brands and there's like a underserved brand basically that nobody really cares about. Or it might be a channel, for instance. So like, you know, you guys are obviously familiar with Zarif from Duolingo. The way that, you know, the Duolingo entertainment brand started effectively is because she said, I want to take TikTok as a channel and I want to experiment and I want to do whatever I want on this channel. It wasn't a big channel at that point in time. They said, cool, we don't really get it. You can just do whatever you want. And then that became the brand's DNA, the whole brand DNA over the kind of like, you know, 3 to 5 year period of like building that brand. So yeah, I'd always say like, look for that underserved bit of the brand or the bit that people don't really care about in the business, because it can only be a win-win. Either you do something, it flops, it doesn't work out, and there was nobody looking at it anyway, or you have like a massive heroic success and everybody's like, wow, this is really shitty part of the business that I've never really considered, and now it's suddenly a success story, or there's suddenly some traction and some motion behind it. So that's what I always say, start there. But yeah, you're never boring enough to be entertaining. We've done all sorts of briefs for like VPN technology through to Excel spreadsheets.
That's really practical advice for every marketer that's listening or watching in on this. Like, start with the area that doesn't have the most awareness. Like, it gives a good avenue. So I love that.
Well, I also wanted to ask about, because you touched on a little bit earlier, that the importance of reach versus just building fans. And so going for fanhood versus going for total awareness or reach. I guess I want to ask about how strategies have evolved to be more about how do we engage a core audience versus trying to go viral as much as possible.
Yeah, and it is a balance, because, you know, Byron Sharp and How Brands Grow talks about the need to reach as many new buyers as you kind of possibly can, right? Like reach and frequency effectively. And like, I don't think that has necessarily changed, but the way that you reach lots of people has changed. You can no longer buy the attention. There's very few moments in the year where you can literally buy someone's attention, like the Super Bowl. And even then, their time is fragmented and fractured, and their attention is fragmented and fractured amongst that time. So a lot of the work that we do kind of in social is based off of the understanding that we need, you know, reach isn't influence. Basically, reach isn't an indicator of influence. What we can do is look at kind of the influence of content as an indicator over whether something will be able to reach further with a paid boosted strategy. Liquid Death do this really well as well. We've done it with clients like Dr. Squatch. Create something that is genuinely entertaining. Maybe you launch that as content first. You look for signals like shares to likes ratio. You know, is somebody sharing this? For every 5 people who like this, is someone then sharing this piece of content? That's a really good signal that this piece of content has influence, it has engagement. Then you boost it. You get a bit of extra reach, and you get extra kindling for that reach because you know that it's already entertaining content. Then you can take that and put it into CTV. You can put it on TV because of the way that the media platforms work today. So I actually think, again, it's not about is it TV versus social and this kind of like old school versus new school debate. That's really dogmatic. It's everything together, but really I look at it as like a conveyor belt in a factory. You know, if you want to get to the gold standard of reach, which is, you know, that Super Bowl level reach, sometimes you can build it up through social and use a little bit of paid boosting, or use creative, for instance, to get you that end goal of that massive reach number at the end.
This is kind of like the where it feels like the industry and how like modern advertising is heading.
Yep.
Where initially, because of the fact, like, this is an amazing practice, but it breaks down because so many different things are siloed. Like, the social team doesn't sit with the ad agency, which doesn't sit with the media buying. So it'd be impossible to conduct this strategy if you're operating in a way where, like, the ad agency that makes the commercial doesn't talk to the social team, and they're doing it kind of opposite right now, where they make the commercial and then they build the social after it. But what you're saying, I think, is where things are heading, where you use social as the testing ground. Social media is the ultimate focus group, and you use that to then build your strategy up. And the only way that works is if everyone is all in the same unit or all together and it's all integrated.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean that's why you see in-house teams be particularly good at it, because obviously they're very synced up. But there are definitely, you know, not just us, but there are other agencies that are becoming particularly good at it. I think that's why we want to become super focused and specialist, or we are super focused and specialist on a thing that we do, which is this entertainment first strategy, and then applying that across strategy, creative production, media, and decreasing the silos between those things. So like we're giving clients opinions right from the beginning on not only why this is a good, entertaining, creative idea, but how we're going to make it spread as well. You know, you guys have talked plenty about things like clipping, for instance, which brands are still so far behind on as kind of a new media tactic, as kind of an entertainment first media tactic. We're building that into plans from the beginning. Call it discovery by design. It's one of the chapters in the report. But I totally agree. I mean, that's why you see in-house teams are particularly good at it. But I do think and this is getting into, you know, other conversations around the industry, but like the rise of the independent and specialists and, you know, people who are becoming focused in what they do in their niche, is starting to get around that need for, you know, network agencies to work together.
Yeah, because of what you're saying, like that, it has put more and more value on that core idea, right? Like the core creative, like none of this works if obviously the core center of the idea and the thing that you're making is a shit idea. So it's like you're seeing, if you're able to know what is going to perform well and you understand everything, all the dynamics, there's never been more value on like, and that I think is in part why you're seeing more of the growth and the rise of like the independent agency, because they're just all about, it's very focused on just being like, we're going to come up with the best creative idea and then you all can deploy it.
Yeah. And look, I think a really brilliant example of a campaign that rolled out that again was, you know, well, the combination of different partners that worked on it, I suppose, but the Mighty Supreme rollout, again, massive film. It's a big idea. It's a big, massive movie star. But how many times have you seen that executed as a billboard and a TV campaign and seen it as, you know, a PR, a press run, a PR run, and siloed in those ways? But the beauty of that was like how it was such a big entertainment first idea that was able, because it was distilled through to a color, a person, and a line, dream big, was able to live in lots of little ways across creators, across social. Those are the types of ideas that are going to win today. And those are the types of ideas that are genuinely entertaining, worth talking about, don't require big paid media spend behind it. Again, I understand the irony of the biggest movie star in the world being behind a campaign for free, as we saying it doesn't need money to travel, but you kind of you understand what I'm saying. You get the sentiment.
Like the core idea itself is insane, and Timothy Chalamet has done plenty of movies, and they've done plenty of marketing for other movies, and none of them came as nearly as close to the level of reach and influence as Marty Supreme. So I think that kind of covers it. Anything else from you, Gino?
No, I mean, this is the way to do it.
This is why we talk. This is why we talk to people. Dan, thank you so much for joining the show. Entertain or Die 3.0 is out now. The link is in Gino's newsletter. We'll fire off the link as well if you want to learn more. Shout out Dan.
Please do. Thank you very much for having me, guys. We're going to drink when I'm in New York.
Sounds like a plan. See you soon. That was Dan Salke, Gino. That was Entertain or Die.
We've heard that advice a lot on the show.
What advice?
If you build on social, if it does well, you boost it.
Yeah.
That's like you test on social. If you monitor, you iterate, and if it does well, give it a little love, give it a little paid.
The most backwards thing that happens, I think, on social is it's like you just assuming like we're just gonna take this and boost it.
Oh yeah, no.
Like we're just gonna take it and boost it, and from the get go.
Yeah, they're putting in like all of this time and resources on one thing that they know they're gonna boost, and they think it'll do well. It's just wrong.
Well, that's my big issue is that like you start from that point, and like from the get go, you're already justifying the campaign.
Yeah, no.
You're already like measuring. You're already justifying it, being like it's a good idea. See, look at all the views that we got. Yeah. So I see what you're saying there. Yeah. This leads us nicely into our next conversation, because the Spectra crew is bursting onto the scene in ways that you rarely see, Gino, because Jack Byrne, Jordan Zwang they teamed up and they got Spectra. Jack comes from the background of starting Side Talk. Remember Side Talk, Bing Bong, Sidewalk Interviews?
I was early on that video.
We'll discuss. You're like, I got in when they had 1 million followers. And
I was
then
early on
Jordan from Mischief, not ad agency Mischief, other Mischief. Does everyone remember the big red boots?
Of course.
Does everyone remember those big red boots?
You got experiential, you got social here.
And they
These
do
guys.
both. That's the thing. They're working with, I just saw the last few weeks, working with the Toronto Raptors. You see them doing stuff with the New York Knicks. We saw I don't know how to pronounce it. Do you remember how to pronounce
Way.
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 I can Way. Big
shower.
installation.
Look, this is what it's all about. Doing well on social, doing well in real life. These two are experts. I don't care what you say, what you think. Welcome to the show.
Jack and Jordan, how are you both doing?
I mean, with that intro, we've got to be doing well. Thank you.
Oh wow, I want to jump off now. I feel like that's it.
We struggle sometimes. Sometimes we get too worked up, and then we're like, wait, they can answer all these questions and explain all this better than us. But we appreciate
What pisses you guys off right now that you guys know you can crush, that you just want to be like, ah?
That's some first question.
I know, I just got excited.
Well, missed the whatever you guys were talking about right when we jumped on. I'm gonna just guess what you guys were saying, which is just boost immediately before you know how great the content is or how great the asset is or the campaign is. And I think when we think about that, that's something that pisses off too, where it's like, don't kind of hide behind the more bold thinking and then don't boost that, whereas you boost like your classic kind of like ad stills, invest in the really good content and then boost that really good content. Jack, what do you think?
I would say the same thing. The worst thing you could do on a brand account is have a video with 10 million views and 120 likes with 0 comments. There's nothing about that speaks to marketing. That's literally just creating content and then putting it through whatever ecosystem you want to pump. So I agree with Jordan.
Well, do you think that there's like, obviously that happens, or I'm speculating, but like there's a clear tension because as like the agency partner, if you make something, you want to be able to have like these vanity metrics to be able to say like, hey, we did a good job. Because it almost like, because of all the pressures that you can see in like in any sort of professional services like client brand relationship, sometimes the goal subconsciously becomes, we need to make sure that they think that we did a good job.
I think that might happen, but I think it happens less than when the brands are on board. Like they agreed, like we're gonna make this video, we're gonna put paid behind it, it's gonna reach a lot of people. I think the brands are in on it too. It's like that's the strategy that they bought.
Yeah.
So like,
okay, fair.
I just want to call that because I could see,
Yeah.
I would totally do that if I was an agency person. It'd be, let's use the agency dollars, let's boost it. But
I'm not saying that. I know that it's part of the budget.
Yeah,
But I think it's like agreeing to that. I guess what you do explain. What are your thoughts on that?
No, what I was going to say is what we always try to sell in isn't even the boost as much as take that budget. And what Jack and I really like to do is very, very like white glove curated distribution. And not just saying this because we're on your show, but it's like, would much rather get an asset that would make sense for you guys to react to and find a way to get you guys to talk about it. I'd rather get, the really good green screen creators who are talking about all things marketing, right? Because I think one thing Jack and I always talk about is, we both come from the background. I just trust 20 million views was the goal, right? Now it's really, how are you getting 100,000 of the best views? And then how are you distributing it amongst other pages that make a lot of sense to talk about a campaign or react to a campaign, where you also want to be in front of those 30 to 50, 60,000 eyeballs.
How are you doing that? So is it like you're investing in really good content? You said white glove service. Like, are you now taking like a PR approach, or like a new, like where you're DMing the creators or giving them a heads up about it? Are you doing like the PR for social now?
Yeah, there's several different approaches. I mean, one way is really trying to fit it in, create ammunition for them that they would already speak about. So a really good example is like, we do a lot of work with Fanatic Sportsbook, and they're coming up as like a really big sportsbook in that category. And they're one of like the younger companies in that space. But there was a creator that was talking about like how new brands kind of go against old guard brands and what they do that's different. And she was speaking a lot about like our branded entertainment aspect there. And it was able to really fit into like a bigger piece that she was doing.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. And then even like, it's almost reminiscent of like an influencer marketing kind of strategy, but you're just to promote and get more buzz, is if you're working with and using like, instead of spending that paid media to just boost that content, it's like using some spend to promote further conversation on other areas of the internet to just grow like the surface area of whatever is happening. Is that kind of making sense? Is that kind of in line with what you guys think?
Yes, and I think honestly, it's just like one of our secret weapons, which I guess isn't that secret anymore since it's, we're chatting about it here. But I think one of the things that Jack and I really aligned on prior to starting Spectra is a lot of what I did when I was at Mischief, right? There were like 2 or 3 drops a month at Mischief. The range was drastic, right? We would come out with a dating simulation game to do your taxes with like anime girls walking you through it. We got 30,000 social security numbers. Same month, we would come out with a backward shoe. And it's basically like, all right, these are the drops. How are we getting 100+ pages to talk about it? And then ultimately traffic back to the website on drop day, or if there was like a purchase point, etc. So it made a lot of sense because ultimately these pages want to post engaging and good content. And if we can supply a lot of that, it is like, it's just a no-brainer to kind of treat it A to Z, from like concepting through production through distribution.
No, it's so smart. It's like you don't care necessarily like about like the traditional ad trade outlets, but like it used to be that way. Ad agencies in like the 2000s would put up like, what is the big headline that we want to achieve before we even start the campaign, and like they would aim for that. But now it seems like you guys are aiming for the complexes of the world, like those like high society accounts like that are doing so well on social media. They have millions of followers. It seems like you're taking that approach now, but with the new outlets across social media that have the reach.
I mean, a part of that has to be because of how fragmented things are, right? Like you have to get to this point.
Well, the thing is that there's also not like one blueprint that we have where every client comes to us for the same thing and we go to the same creators and this and that. It's like the niche creators are much better. So when we're working with a beauty client, like Way, for example, right? We have a bunch of different pages in like the beauty and wellness and like hair and makeup space that will post about it, and they'll talk about different angles. And then you'll get marketing creators to break down, or you guys actually picked up an organic post about it, and it was like 7-swipe breakdown of the product and everything else. So it was like, there's so many different angles to tell the story from. And I think if you play with all these different niches, you can really like make it hit the right eyeballs.
And I think you also said this, there's not really, it's very rare now, with the few exceptions, where everybody consumes the same amount of information, whereas maybe it was even like that a few years ago. So like 100% attention really accumulates over like a lot of different pages compounding at the same time, whether it's traditional, whether it's even TV, or it's like these social kind of accounts that are reporting on it, talking about it, reacting to it, engaging with it. And last thing I was going to say is like, we're just over a year old. So we also push really hard for that because we want the project to win, right? We're so incentivized where we want it to land on 30 accounts because we want to be like, this is how to do it.
Yes. And it's a very much, it just like the accountability is so much more clear. Like it's so much more, you can really like define success, I think, way more clearly than in other avenues or ways of working. But I want to ask, because I think that you both have had such great success with building social media content. And obviously like the side talk, we got to talk about side talk. We got to talk about how did like the things that you learned at Side Talk prepare you for this, Jack?
So basically, I think it's very interesting because Jordan and I will talk a lot about this, both with Mischief and with Side Talk, but I think from 2019 to 2020 or 2020 to 2025, I would say that era of the internet, which is like a little bit COVID, post-COVID, kind of like a lot of IRL content was winning. So like Side Talk definitely was like benefiting from doing things in real life and showcasing that to people. But what I did recognize was that so many brands wanted to engage in this space, but they just didn't know how to at all. And it was either go through a massive holdco agency or go through traditional talent agency and just get connected directly to talent. And there's nothing in between. There's no creative, there's no packaging. It's just plugging into what the talent already does. And so many brands would come to Side Talk asking for like, oh, let's do this, let's do that. And it's like some product placement that just doesn't really make sense. So I was like, okay, these brands really want to engage in this space. And if it's content that they own or co-own, they're willing to spend so much more to do it because they have certain initiatives around that. So Jordan was working with brands in really interesting ways. Everyone from Hot Wheels to Tiffany and Co., every type of brand that Mischief worked with. And we teamed up together to really like help brands, individuals in the entertainment, tech, finance, beauty, you name it, kind of space and pop culture, just like master the internet with content, social strategy, and things like that.
Jordan, I have a question around like getting brands to, is it much of a sell at this point to get brands to lean into the idea of not doing a typical product placement kind of thing, like what Jack was referencing, which was happening probably more in the earlier days, like closer to 2020? Are brands all in on this kind where it's like, let's just make great content while also like having it from our brand page? Or is it still, do you think you're doing a little bit of education still?
I think it's a mixture of both. I think luckily I was fairly spoiled because my first job was Mischief out of college. We did participation trophies with Tiffany because they do all the major championship trophies. We did a furniture collection with Mercedes-AMG. We had never done furniture before, right? So it was almost like really having the blinders on. It's like, of course, why would you not do furniture, right? So I think, there still is a little bit of that, you need to have an enormous amount of corporate guts to take some of these types of risks. But at the same time, I think people are starting to realize, which ladders back to, attention is accumulated across multiple accounts. You need to do something that sticks out, right? That's what Side Talk did a brilliant job at. That's what Mischief did a brilliant job at most times. And then just translating that over to brands. And I think there's just enough case studies at this point, where it doesn't become as much of a hard sell as it is just aligning on the concept, right? Because it's like you're still playing within those guardrails of we want edgy and provocative, of course. That's what you're coming to us for, which is nice. But also jobs are on the line, so we can't go too over the rails.
Yeah. And my last thing before we let you guys go, is there a project recently that you think like we want to point people to be like, because I imagine people are going to be listening to this and they're going to say, yes, I've been trying so hard to get my brand or my in-house team or my agency to do more of this kind of stuff. Is there something you all can point to right now that's a good example?
Yeah, it's like a little bit of a detailed answer. I'll do it quick because I know we got to go.
All
but
good.
Basically, we found a lot of success with non-digital talent on digital. So a lot of stuff we've done with Fanatics. We took the voice of Allstate and the guy from 24, Dennis Haysbert, brought him into a digital piece. It did it really well organically. And then when they put paid behind it, 3 days after, it did even better. And those numbers actually made sense to your point earlier. We did the same thing with Luke Manley from Marty Supreme, who originally started on Side Talk, then was in Marty Supreme, and then we did his first branded piece with him. And then today we have a piece dropping at 2 p.m. ET with a Gen Z AI finance company called Clio. And with that, we took, I don't know if you guys saw the Interview Magazine piece about the finance guys in downtown Manhattan.
Yes.
And
Yep.
took one of those guys, and he's their chief wealth maxing officer. So that, like I said, it's like that like digitally familiar talent that people know about, but they're not creators, they're not creator first, they're not talking direct to camera.
Yeah.
I would say that's kind of the best answer to that. But yes, 2 p.m. today, coming out on Clio. What's their Instagram?
2 p.m.
That's a Breaking Under
well
exclusive. Breaking news. That's interesting.
No,
it takes a little bit. It also takes a little bit of like, you got to be in the know. You got to know what's happening and have good instincts as well. To be like, because it's so easy. There's a reason why everyone defaults back to like the same 12 influencers for all these
Everyone's
campaigns.
like iShowSpeed, Mr. Beast. It's literally, and they try to plug them into the same thing every single time. And it's like, unless you have $75 million to do that every single time, it's not possible.
Or if you do something that's like absolutely insane with iShowSpeed, but he won't do that.
Exactly.
Fellas,
These guys are good.
yeah, this is great. I really appreciate it.
Be on the lookout for these guys here. Spectra. Well, I mean,
Spectra.
I have a feeling Breaking Under will be covering a lot of their stuff.
Oh my God! I mean,
So
they know it. They know it. Thank you
We'll
both so
definitely
much.
be asking you to, without question. You'll be here.
we want that white glove service.
Come on now,
Yeah.
let's talk. All right, thank you
Thanks,
guys.
guys.
Thanks,
Take
guys.
care.
Thanks.
This is why you do it live, Gino. I've been saying it for years. You do it live because you get a breaking news drop. Clio, AI, wealth maxing. That's really funny. Do you remember? Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
The
I don't know
interview
what that-
piece.
what it was.
Pretty
that?
much.
Wealth maxing?
It No, I would just look up Wall Street Finance Bros, New York article. Wall Street Finance Bros. My most recent searches.
Jackson.
All my most recent
Fashionable Wall Street bros set off a social media storm.
Yes. So
This is in the New York Times, ladies and gentlemen. I'll check that out. But right now, we have our next guest, Jack. You want to tee it up?
Oh, yeah, of course. Well, listen, like I said, we do breaking news, we do exclusives. This is what the Breaking Entering media conglomerate does.
It's literally our name.
And Natalie
Breaking.
Lennox is going to be joining us. She is the new executive director of strategy at Apollo Partners, friend of the program. Shout out Eric Perko. Shout out Apollo Partners. Independent media agency, Gino. So we talk a lot about media. We talk about it at the holdco level and how convoluted and complex it is and complicated. We talk about media fragmentation all the time. Natalie is going to be driving the strategy for one of the best independent media agencies in the world. You got questions?
I got questions.
Do you want to tease one right now?
I got to figure out what's going on with like Trade Desk and stuff like that. I don't know if I'm allowed to ask that, but
Well, it's her representation. I will have to step in and say.
I'll ask it and you can say no, but
Right, great. That's why we do it live.
Yeah,
Natalie Lennox, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Hey guys, thanks so much for having me. Great to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you. You're on the job. Did you just start today or the announcement was today?
The announcement was today. I've been kind of peeking my head into the business for the last couple months, supporting a couple different clients. And Eric and I actually worked together about 15 years ago. And so he decided to make it a fish. And so we're moving into, this new territory for me of leading the strategy practice over there. So super excited.
This is the new Facebook official. The new
Yes.
Facebook official is when you make your LinkedIn post that you start a new job. I feel like
Totally.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. We made it Facebook official, LinkedIn official today, which I'm super excited to have it out in the public. But yeah, I mean, Eric has built such a strong media agency and practice. And, we worked together 15 years ago on Taco Bell, actually. And shout out to our friends over there. And I think the philosophy that we brought to that business has really carried through in my career. And, I've worked at startups, I've worked on the platform side, and then most recently on the client side, building out new practice for experiential practice at Delta. And so now getting back into the media game is super exciting. The industry's changed so much, and the role that media can play in building brands has evolved so much, as you guys were just alluding to. So I'm excited to take all of that experience and really reimagine how we approach media for brands that are really trying to break through.
I love it. Me personally, I don't know about you, Jack, but I've talked to a lot of creative agency folks. It's like what I specialize in. But I'm curious, like, because we hear on the creative agency side so often the importance of being independent. I've heard that spiel for hours and hours and hours. What is the benefits of being independent in media, as a media company?
Yeah, I think there's a couple things. I think that the traditional media model was built around this idea of distribution, right? Efficiency and distribution, where it happens at the end of or is the kind of like the last step, like the idea is there, we're in production, now where are we going to put it? And I think the model is inherently broken, where in the fragmentation, we're actually thinking about distribution as a core piece of the idea, because context and content have to be working together. So in that, media needs to come much sooner in the process. And I think media-led practices that have the ability to really be driving strategy from day one of the brief versus, day 90 are really able to integrate those things. And I think traditional media agencies sometimes struggle with being able to offer that sort of strategic thinking that understands culture, understands the audience, understands the context and how that relates back to the brand, to really help drive in collaboration with integrated agency teams, what that looks like, right? So go to market and the idea really being like together, planned together is really critical to make an impact on any brief, whether it's brand or performance related.
Yeah, because to me, I guess I focus more on like the brand marketing and the brand media buying because of what you're saying. It's gotten so fragmented. It just doesn't feel as straightforward as it used to be of buying attention, buying like audience, buying impressions. And to me, like the distribution strategy matters more because it's like, because everyone's attention is so much more fragmented. It's not as easy to be like TV show that targets this certain demographic. Yeah. Easy. We'll just buy it there because those people's attentions it's not as anchored in like those few big cultural things.
I still see what are those late night infomercials?
Which one?
Jacuzzi.
Jacuzzi?
Yeah.
Jacuzzi?
Jacuzzi is crushed. They play at the gym in the morning.
Oh.
Because they're like the old folks that wake up super early or at night. It's like they're like an hour long. I mean, I'm in. I'm following along with Jacuzzi.
Natalie, I want to ask about like what does the modern media strategy look like for like a bigger brand? When they come and you're thinking about media, are you like, we got to think about all these different channels? Is the deck just like 1,000 pages long?
No, a great media deck is probably like 3.
3 what?
3,000?
3 slides. 3 slides. No, I think, if you have a solid strategy, it should fit in less slides, right? But I do think that there's like a couple components, and this is something that we'll really explore. I mean, a strategy role at a media agency is not that typical. Like strategy usually means go to market or channel strategy. It's not something that is really oriented towards the beginning of the process, which is why we're trying to build this way, right? Knowing that that's really critical. But I think it comes down to a couple different things, like the context engine, like where and how the brand shows up is really important. I think the other role of media that's important is like it's a signal of identity, right? Like where we show up is actually more important to the brand. Like it becomes like more like a partnership, right? Like if you decide to partner with let's say Billboard on an activation, it's not just about the value of the impression, but it's also about like you're seeing it on billboard.com or on their social feeds. And that's actually a signal of who the brand is just as much as the impression itself and actually getting a view on whatever it is you're promoting. So that signal of identity is really important. And then obviously the amplifying, scaling the ideas that really deserve attention. And then of course it has to drive performance. So we're really seeing those 4 things as being important in the upfront strategy. But because those strategies are so bespoke to each individual brand, that's really where the independent media agencies can really win, I think. We have more ability to be flexible and nuanced in our approaches, and more specific to the life cycle of the brand, what the brand goals are that sit behind the business outcomes that we need to drive for a specific campaign or effort, and really build from there. And I think that that's super important. And of course, like not just looking at a list of partners that we could potentially be going after, but really understanding the cultural context that sits around this that is going to drive the attention that we need.
Yeah.
So I think it is just extremely nuanced, and independent shops are just able to focus in on that with a little bit more attention versus kind of the spray and pray model.
The association.
What did you say?
The association. You're an association.
Yeah, in context, and content. It all filters together. Can we ask about the media buying world? Can I ask about?
Come on, Jack.
I haven't worked in the world, so I just don't have a good sense of.
Yeah.
Is it as complex and complicated as it appears? And also, like, what is the way forward in terms of making that process more seamless? And then I guess, how does like an independent media agency help with sort of making it as easy of a process as possible?
Yeah, it's a good question. It is as complicated as you can imagine. I think in the fragmentation, what you see is like essentially all the media properties are coming up with their own solutions of how they monetize the attention that they have, right? So I think what's really important in simplifying it or trying to add some simplicity or direction to it is that the agency has to have a POV. When we go to media partners, we have a very specific ask that we're coming to them for. We're not saying, hey, what would you do in this case? That's super broad and they can kind of go into all these different corners and offer up this huge thing that may not be a good fit. We already have a filter and an understanding of like, this is the role we see you playing. Give us your best shot based on that specific thing. Because at the end of the day, like no partner is going to be able to do everything within a specific campaign or effort. And so we really want to make sure that we're using these partners for exactly what they're great at and for what people know them for. So I think coming in with like in the RFP process, which is already very complex, having a POV and being specific about what the actual strategy is and the role that they can play is how you get great proposals back. You can partner more closely with media companies in a way that's more transparent. You can build those relationships better and get ideas that honestly aren't even for sale for the general public, right?
Yeah.
And that's where you get into, I would say, like the really, really meaty and good ideas that come to life through media, through those relationships. And I think that guiding of the media companies want you to be guiding them, right? Because they don't want to spend their time building these huge proposals that aren't necessarily going to go anywhere. So adding that specificity and that filter for them allows them to come back with like what I would say is like the strongest ideas, and then really working with them to get it to the exact spot you need for it to be client ready. So that's from my perspective, like that close partnership and being able to like have very fluid conversations to build creative ideas with partners is really, really critical in reducing the complexity and I would say the like challenges of the marketplace. Because at the end of the day, the media companies are trying to build things that people want to buy. And they will get a signal back from the agency on like what those things are. So being transparent and working with them on building those ideas is just really, really important.
I'm gonna make a crazy analogy, and you guys can let me know if it's crazy. It's like going and buying a home, but when you go to buy the home, it's like, what if you just have a specific POV on what you're looking for versus being like, I just want to buy a home. What do we got? Versus or you could go in and be like, I need 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. I need a jacuzzi. I need a backyard. I want in the neighborhood. Blah, 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 blah. And then it feels a little bit more efficient. Is that crazy, Natalie?
No, it's not crazy. And it's a good, there has to be balance too, right? Like we're also in a world where these media companies or even independent media people like on Substack and whatnot, like have very specific POVs. Even you guys, you have very specific POVs. And if you're going to be partnering with some of these people, you want their authority to also come through in what they're doing, right? So giving them the right lens for how to think about it, helping them understand the product or the brand so that it can come to life also in a way that's authentic to them is really important. And obviously we're talking about like very deep integrations, right? Sometimes it may be high impact or other things like that, but oftentimes it's a reflection of the context it's in when it's best case scenario. And so I think that's when it gets like really fun and you can start to play with like what is the right way and the right balance of the brand and the authority or the context in which we're sitting in. So yeah, but I do think being specific about what you're trying to do, who the brand is like super important to your analogy, like understanding, do I want marble on my kitchen?
Of course.
Or am I cool with, butcher block? Like,
I don't even know what that
absolutely.
means.
Butcher block.
What's butcher block?
It's
Butcher block
I have no
is
idea.
like
Butcher
a
block.
cutting board.
Cutting
like
board.
cutting-
Okay.
This
Butcher
table.
block. Of course. Butcher block. I don't know. I guess I'm more of a marble guy, Gino. I don't know.
like granite.
Granite. I get what you're saying though, Natalie. Like I can see how it all can make more sense to me when you understand like what each part of the process, who's the expert in what, and then really just putting everyone in the right position to have success is kind of like ultimately what I think it is. But Natalie, thank you so much for joining the show. It's been a pleasure. This has been great. Learning, I feel like we're learning more and more about the media world, the media landscape. I'm very excited about all the things with Apollo Partners and Natalie's
Yes.
new role, leading strategy for the crew. Congratulations, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you guys so much for having me, and happy to chat media with you any day.
Boom, love it. Thank you, Natalie.
Bye, guys.
What a show.
Media
What-
makes marketing go round.
MMMGR.
Media makes marketing go around.
That was the show. We're in the post show now. Giggly crew.
Oh
What do we
my
got?
gosh.
Ellie couldn't
What
stop
is
laughing.
so freaking funny,
Ellie
Ellie?
laughing so. I'm glad she's having fun.
I'm so self-conscious.
I know. And when they
I'm like,
do
is
that,
it my hand? I know I have some marks on my hands.
Exactly. When they do that, I assume that they are making fun of us behind our backs. Because then they text and they look at each other and then they laugh with each other.
Can we? I was gonna throw a pen at.
I was gonna be like, get out.
I know.
We
need to get like a
leave.
screen or something.
I know. Yeah. Go ahead, Ellie.
Go
What's
ahead,
going
Ellie.
on?
What's going on?
Okay, they're
Okay.
making fun of Ross.
Don't make fun of Ross.
If you're
Ross
gonna do it live.
Quincy got a spam text, and Ross said,
Ignore block report.
Ignore
"Block,
block report. Wow, that is really funny.
That was what. We'll find out the real reason
Yeah,
after the
well,
post
I know.
show.
They did a good job.
That was the meeting. That was what's so funny.
We need to. So, anyways,
Good show today. I mean, social heavy.
tomorrow we are going to be in Los Angeles doing the live show. I'll say it again. Tomorrow we are going to be in Los Angeles to do the live show, live from Miramar.
Yes.
Miramar Creative Agency, one of the best independent agencies in the universe, said, would you like to host the show from our office? And we said, yes, we would love to host the show from your office. So shout out to Miramar. They're helping us bring the live show to LA. We'll be doing it from the Miramar office. We're going to be hanging out in LA, doing a bunch of cool stuff, Gino. I'm excited.
This is the way it goes now. We're bringing this show on the road, Jack.
Lord knows if the show will work on the road. But
Oh, we start at a different time tomorrow. I think people need to know that.
programming update. We will be starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. West Coast Time, Gino.
Wow, is that true? We're starting at 1 p.m.?
Eastern Time.
Wow.
Because,
Yeah,
as you know,
3 hours.
yes, West Coast Pacific time zone is a different time zone.
So it's like, what do people what are they going to be doing at 1 p.m. if they're working in an agency?
Oh, they're gonna be on that afternoon coffee run. Just had a burrito bowl. And now
Flop bowl.
just back at the desk.
Fernando Mendoza, we want you on the show.
Fernando Machado is his name. That's getting sent to him.
That better not be sent to him.
100% that's getting
Do
sent
not
to him.
send that to him. We're just starting
was
our
a-
friendship.
It was a big day for Fernando's the last couple days.
Yes.
But yes, we will be live from LA tomorrow for those tuning in. Programming update. It'll be at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So we're going to have a little bit late afternoon start, which is kind of cool for a Thursday. Afternoon Thursday, you're essentially at the weekend anyways. So
We're gonna get to the beach at some point.
hopefully. Be in LA. Got the flight tonight. My flight, I am sitting in an exit row right now. There's
Wow.
nobody else in my row. If that,
Is it the one that is it in the aisle? Are you aisle seat?
yep.
Nice.
So
That's that gold.
that's that United Gold Reserve
yes.
status. I imagine we're bringing Ellie and JR with us to do the live
We'll
show.
talk to
in
Ellie.
LA.
We'll have a conversation with Ellie about her.
I assume Ellie is seat 48C. I don't know what to tell you. Some people would say a good boss would let Ellie sit in their seat, and I say absolutely not. I earned that gold reserve membership.
Yes, you did, Jack. I'm on your side.
Anything else?
No.
Oh, there it is.
No, the show was great today. It's social heavy. I learned a lot. Those Spectra guys, I'm very impressed by them.
It's the way of the world. The strategy, and honestly, Gary Vee kind of has been saying this.
He's
been on it for a while, and he was on the show yesterday. Shout out Gary Vee. The idea of using social as a testing ground for all of your creative, and then amplifying it in a bunch of different ways, is kind of the way that you're seeing more and more of that happening. Yeah. Ross, it's very funny when you change the dimensions. Don't worry, I'll give you that love. I know Ellie was ignoring you, but I will give you that. I will give you that every day of the week, Ross. So that's a live show. Anything else before we close out? We'll see everyone live from LA tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern time.
Boom.
See ya.